Alright mates, how's it going? In today's video, chapter 29 of Shadows Rising by Madeline Rue. This is definitely going to be a difficult chapter to edit, because it's quite eventful, so hopefully it doesn't end up being a big old pile of poop. Let's go! Talanji and the Horde leadership arrived at the outskirts of the Zobal ruins, just in time to see a crack of lightning ripple down from the sky and hit somewhere inside the Necropolis. They're already attacking him! We have to move! Thrall, Bane and Talanji then raced forward, with 20 Orc soldiers and the vanguard of Rastarian forces marching behind. Bane's shaman carried on to the east, with the intention of crossing the swamp using their power to walk across water, and Thelyssera's Nightborn archers were to take the western approach, attack from three sides, as per Thrall's recommendation a few chapters ago. However, as the main force passed through Zobal, a troll popped up out of nowhere. "My name is Teo. I serve the Witch Apari."
"Give us one good reason not to take your head."
"I serve her no longer. She is not the leader I knew, the leader I admired. This cruelty is not her. Her hate for you, your majesty. It's all she has."
"Then fight with us. Help us stop her."
Teo looked at each of them, a little bit wary. "I will. All I ask is that you give her a merciful end. Death is already about to claim her. Just make it swift."
"Done."
Talanji bit her tongue. She wasn't overly happy about trusting Teo, and she wasn't entirely sure Apari deserved mercy. "The bridge is riddled with traps and mines. They knew you might come, so don't go that way." Thrall then reached into his pack and pulled out a few silver orbs. "What are those?"
"A gift from our clever trade prince, Goblin Seekerbots. Be ready to charge."
The orbs made their way across the bridge and cracked open, producing 6 mini contraptions that looked like tiny little men. And the tiny little men bounced their way this way and that, until they collided with a trap and exploded. R.I.P. tiny little men. Thrall, without any hesitation, then started making his own way across the bridge, and Talanji, Bane and Teo followed. As the smoke from the exploded mines cleared, they saw the chaos. One Samdi, gritting his teeth as he summoned spirit after spirit. Rebels, who had already suffered several losses, with bodies littering the ground. And the Dark Rangers, with Apari, Nathanos and some armoured elf bitch stood among them. "Is this all you can muster? Pathetic. Do not let them reach the lower."
"Don't underestimate her. Wardens are formidable."
Thrall then started to swing his axe and windmill a whole bunch of troll rebels trying to swarm him, and Bane joined the fight too. Initially, Talanji looked desperately to the east and west, wondering what the bloody hell was taking the shaman and archers so long. But now was not the time for complaining and feeling sorry for yourself. Now was the time for fighting. So she went ahead and started blasting death magic and casting protective barriers and stuff. However, a blinding spear of lightning struck the barrier she'd conjured around Bane. 'Twas Apari. The Queen quickly refocused, giving Bane another barrier, and then started making her way through the chaos towards her former Bezzy. But as she drew closer, a weird shape zipped towards the Queen and smacked right into her face. And it took a few moments of severe pain before Talanji realised there was a bloody dread tick on her head. However, as she lost her balance and fell to the ground, the creature became dislodged and bounced away, and 2 massive totems then came smashing down and smushed the little twat. But there was no time to stop and thank Bane. Talanji picked herself up and pressed forward. The next thing Talanji had to contend with was the fact that Apari, who was probably a bit pissed off that her pet had just been smushed, was in the process of calling down another lightning strike. Apari laughed maniacally as she brought down the storm, but Talanji reacted quickly, throwing her arms wide and conjuring yet another magic barrier. And it worked even better than she'd hoped, because the lightning bounced off it, arced across the battlefield, and punched Apari right in the chest. And the Widow's Bite leader then shot backwards, flying into a pillar. "Here, we can give her mercy together." Talanji didn't hesitate to take Teo's hand, and the two of them then forced their way through more rebels, until eventually they reached their target. What was left of Talanji's childhood friend was pretty unpleasant to look at. Legs sprawled out in front of her with blood dripping down her cheeks. She'd hit the pillar very hard and cracked her skull open. Talanji, however, knelt down beside Apari, cradled her neck, and tried to smile. "I'm sorry, Apari. The siege. My father was dying. I wanted to help him, but I should have stayed to help you too. You can rest now. It's all over." "It's not over. You should die for what you did to me. To my mother. You should die. Vengeance will only take you so far. You need more than that to survive. I did not help you then, my friend, but I will help you now." Talanji held Apari's hands and looked deep into her sad, terrified eyes. She then cast a soothing spell, hoping it would at least ease Apari's pain a little bit. Life had not been kind to the girl, but once she was gone, her body would nourish the earth, and one Samdi would keep her spirit from the maw. It was ironic, really. She'd wanted the lower dead, but it was he who would now save her from everlasting darkness. The Queen then squeezed her old friend's hands whilst Teo drew her blade, and then boof, it was all over. With the party dead, the rebels scattered. However, Sira Moonwarden did not retreat. Although Nathanos was nowhere to be seen, the Warden and a few nearby Dark Rangers continued to fight, right up until some war horns sounded and a bunch of Tauren Shaman and Nightborn archers finally arrived. The Dark Rangers soon fell, and Bane smashed Sira right in the gut with his totem that was still covered in bits of smushed Dreadtick. Do not look at me with those gloating eyes. Nathanos! Nathanos! I will not be abandoned again. Not now. You have accomplished nothing. Do you hear me? Nothing. Well, Thrall then cracked her helmet with the blunt end of his axe, which stunned her to silence.
Bind her tightly. I know exactly what to do with her.
An unnatural cackle then rippled out from within the Necropolis, and Talanji raced towards it. And when she arrived, she saw Bwonsamdi, beside himself with amusement, whilst Nathanos Blightcaller was having a bit of a tantrum. I told you, dead man. You're no match for my queen. Talanji wasn't going to let Bwonsamdi face Nathanos alone, even though she had basically exhausted herself by this point and had very little left to give in terms of strength. But she had something else. Something better. Aloa's power comes from his believers. Mighty Bwonsamdi, lower of graves, your strength is mine, my strength is yours. Nathanos had enough sense to know at this point that he'd lost, so he just kind of glared at them as they escorted him back outside. I will swing the axe for what he has done to my people. Unlike Sira, Blightcaller gave no taunt, no mockery. He simply sheathed his bow, pulled a vial from his coat, uncorked it, and bowed his head. My lady. And out of nowhere, a liquid tendril of purple and black emerged, enveloped him, and swallowed him whole. Thrall raced forward, but he was too late. Nathanos was gone. Well, guess he slipped away. He be tricksy indeed, just like your old pal Bwonsamdi. I, however, plan to live a lot longer than him. There was a murmur amongst the Horde and Zandalari forces as they all slowly realised they'd won, and it was over. And that murmur soon grew to loud cheers and hoorays and stuff. But Thrall looked kind of disappointed about the fact that Nathanos escaped. Don't look so sad, Thrall. You came for me and here I am. Whatever the Banshee Queen had planned here today, you stopped her. He's right. The Horde stood together as one behind our ally. Not just an ally. I wish to take my place on the Horde Council. It is where I belong. Speaking for my people and listening for them. Our armies must be rebuilt, our city secured, and the trust of the people won. But we will emerge stronger than ever. How very touching. Bwonsamdi pretended to wipe a tear from his face sarcastically, but Talanji could see the look of relief in the lower's eyes. Now, I believe I owe you all a feast. No assassins this time. You have my word. And we're leaving it there! So that was a bit all over the place. I cut a few things out of the chapter because I'm not a Hollywood studio with billions of dollars. But I don't think you guys watch my videos for the action scenes anyway, do you? Because they're a bit shit. As usual, link in the description if you're interested in buying this book. Also, there's links to my Discord server and my Patreon page too. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!